Hello. Good morning. Welcome to another week of meditation mornings. My name is Jordan. If you haven't met me yet, super stoked to have you here. And if you've been joining us, welcome back. Sorry, we're starting a few minutes late today. Had some technical difficulties logging in, but we're here. And so are you. Or if you're watching the replay, you're also here, and welcome. So if you haven't joined us yet, my goal of these meditation mornings on Instagram Live and the replay is just to provide 15 minutes, give or take, of attainable, approachable, affordable meditation to bring you some mindfulness midweek. If you like what you hear or see, feel free to donate through the link below. I also hold private mindfulness and yoga sessions as well as group and corporate team building activities. So if any of that interests you, feel free to send me a message and I would be happy to help you on this journey. We're going to do a guided meditation today, a visual meditation. But before we get started, let's just tune into our space, tune into our bodies, tune into our minds. And doing so by taking any wiggles, any gentle movements, allowing the body to tune in. Maybe you just woke up, or maybe you're having trouble waking up. So just bringing some movement into the body. These unscripted or organic movements are called sahaj movements in Sanskrit, the ancient yogic language. So just taking some sahaj movements, maybe rolling the neck, maybe taking some seated cat-cows, maybe rolling out the shoulders a bit. And when the body's beginning to feel a bit more settled, the mind's beginning to feel a bit more settled, coming to stillness either in a seat or a lie down position, or maybe you're driving to work, you can still do this meditation as well. Maybe closing the eyes if you're not driving to work, but if you're able to. Or maybe you prefer to keep the eyes open so you don't fall back into a sleep this morning. So wherever you're at, beginning to visualize yourself on a tranquil path in the middle of some beautiful nature. You notice this path beneath your feet that you've decided to walk on. And you notice the landscape around you as well. The green grass that's lining the path on each side. You notice the grass has been freshly cut and has that fresh cut grass smell first thing in the morning. Slight mildew. We all know the smell. You notice the blue skies, the birds chirping along their happy way. And you begin to walk along this path, continuing to notice the nature around you. You look to the side and there's a little bunny rabbit that's hopping alongside next to you, happy as can be. You notice a little river, a little creek bed alongside the path. Then you see little tadpoles swimming in the water. Everything is bustling with life, with prana. And you are a part of this life, this happy energy along the path. And as you continue to walk along this path, you notice that the path splits a few different ways in the close distance. You begin to ponder which way you'll take on the path coming up. Beginning to weigh the pros and cons of each path. One of the paths looks muddy at the beginning, but has a beautiful view just a little bit further past the mud. Another path is blocked by a tree, but you think you could maybe go over the tree. Another one of the paths looks clear. It looks like there's no obstacle to get around. So there's also that option. And the final path that you could take has a pretty sizable kitten laying in the middle of the path. And so as you're approaching this part of the path, these different paths that you can go from there, you continue to weigh the pros and cons. Well, one has mud, but I can see the view just past it. One has a tree blocking it, but I think I can go over it. One path looks clear, but I can't see the distance. I can't see where it's going. And then one path has a pretty plump kitten in the middle of it. As I'm weighing the options, as you're weighing the options of which path to take, you start to feel slightly overwhelmed, a little bit frazzled. Which option should I take? Which option is the best? As you begin to get overwhelmed with these options, you decide it's enough, and you're just going to pick a path. Stop overthinking about the path. And so you decide you're going to go with the path with the giant branch, the giant tree in the middle. As you approach this giant tree, you notice that there's a rock off to the side. This rock is big, but doesn't appear to be too heavy. And you think maybe this rock could help me get over the tree. So you gently push the rock closer to the tree, creating a stepping stone to allow you to jump over the tree a little bit easier. And just like that, you're over the tree, continuing back on the path. The rest of the path is tranquil and easy, slightly elevated and windy, but nevertheless, you find yourself at the end of the trail, the end of this path. And there's a beautiful lake at the end of the path. Bright turquoise in color, with a beautiful mountain backdrop behind. A little bit of snow from the previous year on that mountain still. You take in the scenery and decide to look around you. And you notice 3 other paths leading to the same lake. And you wonder, could it be? Are these the same paths that were forked in the road leading different ways previously? You decide to follow one of the paths back. And it's very, very windy, very rocky, somehow very steep compared to the last path. The path is dark and gloomy with many trees covering the sunlight. And as you get back towards the end of this path, it's very muddy and your feet just get stuck and clump through the mud. And so you're walking through the mud, walking through the mud. But eventually you get to the end of the path, and there you are at the same fork in the road, at the same beginning, coming from the same lake that you just came from on the first path. You decide to see if the other 2 paths are the same ones leading to the lake as well. And so you go to the path that had no resistance, the clear path, the option that was there all along. And it's the most leisurely, enjoyable stroll. There's beautiful flowering trees and bushes along the way. Happy little toads jumping and leaping on the path. Butterflies flying through. And soon enough, you find yourself at the turquoise lake once again. At this point, you're determined to check out all 4 paths. So you continue on the 4th and final path, leaving the turquoise lake once again. And you're walking down the path. Everything seems normal. Everything seems good. Until finally you make your way back to the very plump cat at the beginning of the road. This cat has a hard time letting you pass through. It's walking and jumping really fast in front of you, whichever move you try to take. And suddenly the cat jumps and it's on your shoulders. For being a plump cat, it's very agile. And so you continue walking, but here you have this big cat on your shoulders, this weight on your shoulders, making it more difficult. You're thinking, why? But the path is almost done, so you continue to walk with this plump cat. And soon enough, you make it back to where you came from, back at the beginning of those fork in the road, those 4 different paths. And you're acknowledging, looking at each path you had just taken. And you think about each obstacle that each path brought you. The mud, the hills, the rocks. On the contrary, the butterflies, the frogs. You had the tree stump we had to walk over, but ended up not being that difficult. And then a plump cat weighing on our shoulders. Noticing, acknowledging that each path we took brought different struggles, but we overcame each of them. And acknowledging that with each path and with its hardships or its blessings, we were still led to the same ending point. The same beautiful turquoise lake. We realize that we can apply this lesson in life itself and not just in our meditation. Allowing each path we're presented with to give us different opportunities and blessings. Allowing each path that we're met with to give us what we need, and allowing ourselves to know that we're strong enough and resilient enough to get through the obstacles of any path. No matter what, trusting that we'll always end up at a beautiful turquoise lake. We'll always end up where we're meant to be, no matter which path we take or the obstacles along the way. Always trusting that we'll end up exactly where we need to be. Taking a full round of breath to end this guided meditation, inhaling through the nose. Exhale, release, sigh it out. Thanks for joining us for another week of meditation mornings. Thanks for watching the replay if you're joining us from there. And hope to see you next week, Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Okay, have a good week.